5 years ago today, I had the scariest weekend of my life. But without that, I'm not sure I'd be here or I'd be the same person. You see, 5 years ago, I was pretty lost in my life. I was signing divorce papers that morning, working with people I didn't trust, internalizing that stress and that fear and that threat. And then later that night, which was really the next morning, about 4 a.m., my Apple Watch shocked me awake from like this almost drifting in and out of consciousness sleep on the couch, watching the irony of all things, a mindfulness video. And my Apple Watch said I was having an AFib episode, which is when your heart is beating erratically due to a sort of problem with the electrical signals. I have never had a heart issue. That was a shock out of left field, and I was terrified immediately. I made the mistake of opening the heart app to see what my heart rate was, and it was jumping from 160 to 54 to 72 to 99 to 148. And I was alone in my apartment in Florida, wondering, what do I do now? So I took a minute to Google AFib, and I thought, probably need to go to a hospital. So in that moment of fear and stress, I got in my car and drove to a satellite ER, which was really close by, but still not a smart decision. And again, you're just not in your right mind when you have these out of the blue, shocking moments. Well, that weekend got progressively worse before the turning point. The progressively worse was a series of tests that were looking really bad and dire. Like at one point I was told, the AFib was one thing, but it looked like it might be some serious blockages in my heart. And there was about a 95% chance I would have some blockages based on the early test results. So this one day in the hospital over the weekend, stress was at just an all-time high. I was a wreck. My blood pressure, with intravenous medications, by the way, to keep my blood pressure low and to regulate my heart rate, was at 225 over 150. And I'm not exaggerating. I could see the fear in the nurse's face. And I'm thinking, if she's nervous, I should be, out of my mind right now. And I was. I started having all these thoughts about how I did this to myself and how I let myself be overweight and out of shape and just neglected, both emotionally, physically, everything. The worst thing you could do to yourself is not love yourself. And I was in the middle of that. I didn't know it, though. Thought I was okay. I was funny. It's Joe, funny guy. Always making people smile. But meanwhile, I was miserable on the inside. And I thought I was going to die because of it. What a fucking way to go. So as I sat there contemplating the life I'd wasted at this point, 5 years ago, I literally thought I might die that night. So I was about to send my kids a message saying goodbye. I don't know. Sorry, I fucked it up and I won't be here anymore. And I don't know, something told me not to. And I don't know why. It wasn't giving up. It was a little bit of hope. And I don't know where it came from. But I'm really glad it came to me, because it caused me to put down my phone and really just get kind of focused on me and calming down a bit. And I did feel a little calmness and hope. And I'm glad I felt that, because I needed it in that moment. And then I had one more test, which was going to tell us definitively, because it's no longer a test. It's actually a physical exam where they take a camera and they put it in the femoral artery and they run it through your arteries, and they could see if you have any blockages. And when I went in for that test, I thought, whatever comes next, I'm going to do the best I can, whether it's heart surgery, whether it's a series of stents or whatever, I don't know. Could have been anything, but it wasn't good. And 95% is not great odds. But I don't know. I had a little hope in that 5%. I really did. And I think that's what kept me, um, my energy in the right place to not send that message and believe. Um, so when the heart surgeon did the procedure and said something like, hooray, or let's celebrate, your arteries are perfectly clear. It's like people say the weight of the world. I think they're not kidding when they say that, because sometimes it feels that kind of relief where the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. And I immediately felt like this was a second chance. And I don't know, you wonder, like, do people really take advantage of the second chance? And I'd like to think I did, because I immediately found myself hyper-focused on me and fixing me from the inside out. And I started with the most obvious thing. I was over 300 pounds. I, could barely reach my toes to tie my shoes. I felt horrible. Everything ached. I couldn't sleep. And I worked on that first. So I started walking. I started eating right. And I started to realize, it was body, mind, and spirit. I started with the body. That started reaching into the mind by walking and breathing and thinking. And the spirit, the sort of the hope and the soul came later. There's a lot more to share about this. It was sort of that 5 years ago. I had that weekend, and I had that pivot in my life where it was a 180, and nothing's been the same since. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned that, happiness starts within, and it comes from self-love and self-worth and knowing that you deserve to be happy. It's making yourself happy by recognizing that you're all you have at the end of the day, and everyone else around you is a gift. And certainly you want to be blessed with amazing people around you. And I've been blessed, let me tell you. I've met so many, people have seen me for the first time, and I think I've seen some people for the first time. And it's all because I just opened my heart. And I'm so grateful for everything. Life's not easy as pie and everything's smooth sailing. I still have weird moments of fear and threat, psychological hijack, and all that shit. But damn it, if I don't feel like I can handle it, and life's going to be okay. And I believe. And that's the trick. It's just realizing that status doesn't matter, and wealth doesn't matter, and achievements, external validation doesn't matter. All that matters is that you love yourself, believe in yourself, approach the world with your open heart, and accept the gifts that are out there of other people, and touch the lives of other people as much as you can, because that's all that matters. Everything else is window dressing. And it took me a long time to learn that. And I hope that I help you see that sooner. I hope I help you see it when you're 18 instead of when I saw it at 54 years old. Because boy, spending 54 years wearing a mask, not knowing who I was and what I was about and what I was worth was sad. And it was, I won't say wasted time, because every moment shapes who we are, and I am who I am because of all the ups and downs. But boy, I would have rather figured it out sooner. And I hope you find that self-love, that self-worth, and find your happiness much earlier than I did. But I'll tell you, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to help you do that. So this is my first video. I hope to make many more, and I hope it helps you live a better life. So thank you for watching.